Hi, good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. We're talking Keir Starmer. Is he going to take us to war? Would you fight in Keir Starmer's war against Russia? Is this all a distraction from his personal problems, or is it something else? Is Keir Starmer marching Britain straight into war with Russia? Whilst he's failed to control illegal migrants at Dover, remember 1,200 got in yesterday, Starmer now wants to play the big global hero, the big statesman again. And so he's poking the Russian bear. But, Mr. Starmer, you're no Winston Churchill, and you're certainly no Maggie Thatcher if you're looking for a Falklands kind of bounce. British voters are saying loud and clear, aren't we? No bloody war. If you've got a view, I want to hear from you. Get on the comments now. I'm going to start with something unusual today. Submarine Biker, who's one of my fans on Twitter or X, he just sent me this. Mate, I joined the Royal Navy in 1984. I served for nearly 15 years, both surface and submarine fleets. Would I join up now? No way. Certainly not for Starmer's vanity war. He sees himself as a Mrs. Thatcher. This is the killer bit, but he's more of a Michael Foot. Is that fair or is that unfair? Where are you on this? I say no war in our name. I've got nothing against the Russian people. I like the Ukrainians, but I feel, and I think a lot of people agree with me, we've done enough for Ukraine. And what about that bombing overnight? Very good technically, sending in drones, wiping out half of Putin's, or a third of Putin's atomic bombers. But just how sensible is that? They're meant to be having negotiations today. And you know we will have been very much involved in this. Is that a suicide mission? Why are we trying to wind Putin up? Oh, and how odd that it's happening at the moment. Today, another Ukrainian, admittedly, this one's 48, he's just been arrested as another suspect in the I can't get the words out. The arson case with Starmer and his property and his cars. What's going on there? Is this talk today about getting war ready, getting on a war footing to divert our attention away from the total failure of Calais/Dover and to think, oh yeah, Russia's the enemy? Because you do know, don't you? Russians eat their babies. Well, I'm afraid, Mr. Starmer, it don't wash with me. But does it wash with you? Because tonight on the Jon Gaunt Show, I'm going to pull no punches whatsoever. I believe Keir Starmer is pushing the UK onto a very, very dangerous war footing with Russia. I don't think, well, I know he hasn't got a public mandate. He hasn't had proper debate in Parliament. He announced the spending review this morning on the BBC. Even Nick Robinson was totally cynical when he interviewed him. I watched it. You could watch it on the radio, on the Today programme, whilst listening on the radio if you wanted. He was totally cynical. And then when he did his press conference up in Glasgow, he then had all those people standing behind him, all looking bored to tears. What's all that about? It just looks ridiculous, doesn't it? And then the press had their turn, and again they did Starmer over. They said, where's the money coming from? Where's the commitment? When will this happen? I mean, it's a great idea. I mean, I agree that we've got to up our defence spending. I'm in Donald Trump's camp on that. But when's it going to happen? He would not. He just said it's an ambition. He kept using. Nick Robinson was brilliant because he said Ambition is a lawyer's word because it's not defined very, very clearly. When are you going to spend this money? Where are you going to get this money from? And then later on, all the rest of the press pack piled in with the same questions. Nobody believes a bloody word that Keir Starmer is saying. Yes, we need more nuclear subs. I'm with you on that. But when are we going to get them, Sir Keir? This is all just diversion tactics. He's hoping for a Maggie Thatcher bounce. You know, in the Falklands, Maggie Thatcher was so unpopular before the Argentinians attacked the Falklands. She then took them on and she got a huge bounce. That's why she got another term, and that's why people still love Maggie Thatcher to this day. But, Sir Keir, the difference was she was fighting for our sovereign territory. You're one of these lily-livered uber liberals who would give the Falklands back. In fact, that's what you'll probably do eventually, like you're trying to with Gibraltar, and of course, as you've done with the Chagos Islands. Do you know why? Because you're not a patriot. You are not British. You do not believe and love our country. You don't love our people. You are a traitor. And the sooner you go, the better. So you won't get the bounce back. Because when we went to the Falklands, I remember it to this day, I was at university. We were all G'd up by it. And when we won, I know it wasn't a proper war on so many levels, and we lost people. And so did the Argentinians, and they were mainly a conscript army. But we told Gualtieri, up yours. We told them you don't mess with Great Britain. And Thatcher got that bounce. You won't get it, Starmer, because everybody, they don't just hate you, they despise you. They know you're lying. And when push comes to shove, you wouldn't fight for Britain. So when you come now, you start talking about conscription. If you think our sons and our daughters and granddaughters and grandsons are going to go and fight in your phony war, have a chat with Mr. Blair. Because Mr. Blair conned us once. I was one of the people who believed in the 45-second or minute dossier that liar Alistair Campbell put forward. But I ain't getting cheated again. Let me tell you, I don't believe that Russia's going to invade us. And I believe that Russia's got some reason for this, because NATO was trying to expand into the east after they promised they wouldn't. And as for Zelensky, he's a chancer. He's trying it on. And last night, he accelerated the tension. Are you with me or against me? No public mandate, no proper debate in the Commons, and no plan beyond empty rhetoric. That is what I'm accusing our Prime Minister of. I think he's a disgrace, and he mustn't be allowed to get away with it. Am I overreacting or am I right? We've got about half an hour to discuss this. If you want to join in, just put your comments on the comments underneath, and I shall read them out. Let's have a listen to this one. Verify Snatch on YouTube. Another British Putin. Why do they always look like Father Hack? I don't know what that means. I think you're criticizing. You think I'm a Putin lover? Well, I'll tell you something, my friend. I think he's a filthy dictator. But I don't think he's Russia. I've been to Russia. Have you been? Do you know what? The Russians do not eat their babies. This is propaganda, and they're doing it to divert your attention away from the fact that the cost of living is through the floor, through the roof. That old age pensioners are dying because they haven't got the winter fuel allowance. They're getting rid of they don't want to restore the two-child benefit. This is all because Starmer has it up, and he's now looking for the next diversion, and that diversion is your kids dying on the battlefields in the Ukraine. And I say, stop this madman. He's deluded. Stop him. Put that special jacket on where you tie it up round the back. Tell him it's a Vivienne Westwood special. He's probably used, careful, John. He might be used to things that tie him up. I don't know. But what's your view? Verity Snatch, if you want to come back and say something else, feel free. But don't. Ugh, doesn't matter. Get stuffed, Starmer. No chance, says Indian Joe. Oh, Verity's back again. The Putin puppet traitor show. Oh, yeah. Well, you're watching, so who's the winner? Me or you, Verity? By the way, don't bother texting up too many things, because in a moment I should just ignore you completely. Evening, John. I'm pleased to hear they're remaking Threads. Oh, yeah, they are. They're putting it back on. And I hope it gets widespread coverage. What a brilliant BBC show that was. We were terrified of war with Russia. People have forgotten. Maybe they need reminding. No war. Well, that's what I'm saying, Chopper. I don't want war, but I don't think the Russians do either. It's a farce. Darren Cummings says, hiya, John. Hi, Darren. Thank you very much for being on tonight. Graham Fletcher, are you talking Starmer again tonight? Yes, because he's the Prime Minister and he's leading this country to destruction. I'll talk about him every day. If you don't like it, Graham, I don't care, mate. If you don't think it's important, he says there won't be a war. All he's doing is restocking our forces, as everyone expects, don't they? No, he's not. What he announced today wasn't just a restock. Graham, I don't mind you having a different opinion, but don't lie, because you come over as a complete and utter prat. So think about what you're saying. Darren Cummings says, gotcha. Thank you very much, Darren. And Jackie Ward says, sadly, there will never be another Maggie, the biggest patriot this country has ever had in power. Well, that's why I've put Winston Churchill behind me tonight, and Maggie Thatcher, of course, and said simply, Starmer, you're no Thatcher. You're no Winston Churchill. You're not even Winston the Churchill, the dog in the insurance ads. What you are is a dog. I'll be your dog. We need some explanation. Why should we trust a man to take us into a war who can't even solve Dover? Why are we going to trust a man who can't protect his own house? He's had 3 arson attacks on property that he owns or did own. He still owns the £2 million house, and he doesn't tell us about it. And then his personal life is obviously very complicated. Like, where is his wife? So, Starmer, why don't you start being straight with the British public and tell us what or who you are? Because all that happens at the moment is you made that big speech today about every person's got to do their bit. It was meant to be echoing Winston Churchill. It was useless. Absolutely useless. I watched it all. Then I saw the press pack attack you, and you didn't have an answer. In fact, you haven't got a clue. It's pathetic. Resign. I'm going to say it. Resign now. You need to spend more time with your families. Let's go now to some more comments in a moment. But just before that, it's a fantasy, isn't it? What Starmer's up to and this so-called defense strategy. It's vague promises of more submarines, or he was calling them subs because he's down with the boys. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. And his total failure to set dates or deliver action. He's not set any dates. And even this afternoon, they're still lying. That lot couldn't sleep straight in bed if they tried. They're like corkscrews, all of them. Meanwhile, the British public want real security. That means stopping illegal migrant crossings. It means deporting those that are here unlawfully now. And it means defending the homeland, Keir Starmer, not Ukraine's border. And that's the problem, isn't it? Is he expecting for you to go to war, leaving, cliche time in a way, leaving behind your women and children, your families, to fight a foreign war that's got nothing to do with us? Why were we involved in the attack last night? And we were, because we must have given them the intelligence. We'd given the go-ahead to put those weapons into those Russian planes and blow them up on the eve of having another peace talk. Starmer, what are you up to? Are you that desperate to get the heat off you, my friend? Are you? Are you? If you don't want trouble, you should do what my old man says. Keep it in your pants, if you understand what I mean. I'm speaking metaphorically, of course. But there's no smoke without fire anymore. Clearly, the MSM are keeping secrets from us. They know what's going on in his unusual family life. But I'm telling you, Starmer, we ain't going to war to let you off the hook. There we go. The first donation of the evening. Thank you very much indeed. Chopper MK50. He's chucked £2 into the pot. If you want to do that, just press the heart on the YouTube video, and then you can buy a super chat or a super sticker. Thank you very much indeed, my friend. Very good to have you on board. And I know you're a big fan and you've been with me a long time. I really, really appreciate your support. If you want to support me, even if you haven't got any money, what you can do is press the like button. You can retweet this video later, retweet the links to the podcast, and just tell people Gaunt is back. He's live and unleashed. No one telling him what to say. This is Real Talk Radio. Let's take some more calls. Of course, maybe fantasy. Do you remember when I used to do that? That was a long time ago. Ashley Law says, no, he isn't, but he has a very hot back door. Does that count? Now, listen, we don't know any facts in all this, so can we just be a little bit careful? A little bit careful. I don't want you to get into trouble. Steve Meikle says, good day, John. Trouble with Starmer is he's a left-wing globalist, just like Blair, and he will use conflict to achieve his aims. Steve, you're absolutely correct. That is what's going on. He hasn't asked Parliament. I know I sound a bit like George Galloway now in the Iraq War, but on reflection, of course, Georgie Galloway was correct, and I was wrong, and I apologise. I got the Iraq War completely wrong. I was conned. But I ain't getting conned again. What about you? Is that the Who? It is, isn't it? I'm glad I'm too old to be asked to join the army, says Sean Cherrington. I wouldn't be so convinced about that. The way Starmer's going, he'll have your granny fighting on the front line to divert attention away from his mistakes, misdemeanors, problems, whatever's going on. Yeah? Has he made one good decision since he's been in power? Is he useless? Yes. Were the Conservatives corrupt and useless? Yes. Is there any future? Well, maybe if Reform get their act together, but they've got a long way to go. This country's in SH1T, and it's down to people like Starmer. Oh, for leaders like Maggie Thatcher and Winston Churchill. Even Tony Blair in his first term. Somebody with a vision. Starmer has got no vision. Paul Maskimi, I hope I've said your name correctly. He's no Winston Churchill. He's more like Adolf Hitler. Well, that's perhaps going a little bit too far, but he has got sort of dictatorship tendencies. He likes to be a total authoritarian and in control. There's Chopper MK50. He donated £2. Thank you. Jackie Ward says, Gaunty is on fire tonight. I sure am. And we're getting loads of reaction, which is really, really good indeed. Thank you for doing that. Let's just have a little, let me just add some more fuel to the fire, if you don't mind. Just a little bit more about Starmer. Why does he want to pretend that he's a Churchill or a Thatcher? Because the comparisons don't hold water. He can't even do the speeches correctly. This is the man who just gave away our sovereign territory, the Chagos Islands. I don't care whether Trump supports it. I think it's wrong. This is the man who'll sign away Gibraltar, and mark my words, the Falkland Islands will be next. But the sellout on this, to me, just echoes of Blair's Iraq war deceit. Do you want to see our boys coming back draped in the Union flag into Bryce Norton and other airfields? Do you want that? I don't want that ever again, unless it's a just war. I don't think Russia's going to attack. What a load of bull that is. And they expect us to believe it. Even on a practical level, he hasn't been able to win in the Ukraine. How's he going to take on us and America? It isn't going to happen. It isn't going to happen. We should up our defense money. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but that money needs to be spent at home first. Have you ever heard of the expression, Mr. Starmer? Charity begins at home. Why on earth is our border at Dover, why has it got more holes in it than Jamie Oliver's colander? I'll tell you why, because you're too bloody liberal. So was Sunak, so was Boris Johnson. If anybody is caught trying to get into our country, we should be very, if we can stop them before they actually get off the boats, we should tow the boats back. Make sure they're safe, get them off the boat, then basically blow up the boats or stab them so the boats can't be used again. Take the engines, give them to charities back in this country. But we can't also put up with France. We gave France millions and millions of pounds. They're just doing this. They're just sticking one up to us. The people who liberated them twice. And they treat us like we are something on the bottom of their shoe. They've got a leader who gets a slap off his missus. It kind of sums up the French nation. Oh, it seems to. It just seems as if they are just loving the fact we're getting all the people. They're just, did you see the footage yesterday and on Sunday? They're basically, the police were almost applauding them as they got into the boats in the shallows. And oh, bye, don't forget to send us a postcard. Oh, no, it won't be a postcard, would it? It'll be a Snapchat or it'll be a TikTok video on their brand new mobiles. I have got nothing against the individual people who want to come to our great country to make their lives better. What I have got a problem with is the fact that we are not managing it. We're not saying you've got to get in the queue or the back of the line, as the Americans would say. We can't just let anybody in, any Tom, Dick and Abdul. That can't work. It doesn't work. It's unsustainable. 1,200 people. I don't know how many have come today, but it's been another beautiful day. Well, certainly here in Coventry. Grant Davis. Grant, good to have you on board, my friend. What about the 3 Ukrainian models? How do they know our Prime Minister's addresses and his car? Well, you're a cabbie, Grant. Maybe they've been cabbies. I don't know. You never guess who I had in the back of my car last week. Who? Keir Starmer. Oh, where's he live? Down here. Yeah, I don't think so. I agree with you, Grant. But it's not 3 anymore. It gets worse. It's now 4. Another person has been apprehended. What on earth was he? Does he know them? I don't know. Do you know? Is he still living at any of those addresses? Is he still living with his wife? Why was he at Lord Ali's house when his son was revising after the A-levels finished? I don't know. And there's all these things on X and on social media about him being gay. I don't know whether he is. And do you know what? I don't care. Do you? The only thing I care about is if we're not being told the whole truth. And call me old-fashioned. You're old-fashioned. I actually do prefer my prime ministers to be family people. I know Ted Heath wasn't, but then he was a sailor. Yeah? He was also pretty useless, wasn't he? But I don't think you can have secrets if you're the prime minister. Can you? Going off a little bit here, but you know where I'm coming from. Keith Swankle, I like your name, talks tough but lets the Chagos go. Grant, I love this. We will invite them on the beaches instead of fight them. That's a brilliant one, Grant. Thank you very much indeed. I think Darren Cummings likes that. He said, fun. Where are we going next? Grant makes the point that Russia is skint, which is what I was just saying, precisely. He's just deflecting, John, about his own home and the antics of his cabinet. Boats, harpoons, John, as soon as they come into our territorial waters. Now, see, I don't agree with that. I didn't agree with Ben Habib when he was harsh about them drowning in the channel, and I didn't agree with Katie Hopkins when she called them cockroaches. I thought that's just going too far. These are people just trying to better their lives. I know you're not saying that. We've got to be humane. We've got to be tolerant. We've got to be British. But what we've not going to do is let people take the piss out of us, right? Especially the French. I think the French are outrageous. But you see, they got their own bit of stick on this, didn't they? After the football. I know the mainstream media are trying to convince us that that was just football hooligans. No, it wasn't. That was the people who have come into the country either via Morocco or Algeria and been there a long time, or new arrivals. That's what that was. And that's happening on our streets in very limited parts at the moment. But that's going to happen more and more. This country will burn. I've been saying this for ages. If we're not careful, there'll be a spark in the summer. We had one last summer. Imagine if it was on a bigger scale. If there was a riot. I don't want that. This is why you've got to know who these people are. I put a thing up today, a tweet saying, you know, young men of fighting age. And some Burks wrote back, said, what's their age got to do with it? It's like, and then subsequently he's been trying to have a pop at me. I've just blocked him because I just can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I said, Google it if you don't know what the age means. It's not racist. It's true. They're all young men. They all look quite handy. I wouldn't want to be in a scrap with them. And this worries the out of me. And that, you know, when you see them sitting outside the hotels, they're bored. Idle hands. Do you see what I mean? I don't, you know, if it was to kick off, I wouldn't blame them. Look at the ones. I nearly got run over by one. Was it last night or the night before? Last night, I think it was. One of those guys on the push bikes with the engines. You know the ones I mean. Suddenly they're up behind you. Sorry, Keir. And I had to jump out of the way. They're all working in the black economy so that you can have your soggy or your dried up pizza delivered to you. Get off your asses and go and buy one. Put these companies out of business. I'll make sure none of my kids or grandchildren fight for this country as long as our government treats us like crap. I've got to agree with you. Who was that? Dodge the Badger. Thank you, Dodge. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the show, please press the like button. The more times you do that, it helps me. It helps the algorithm to know what I'm doing. Also, as well, if you'd like to donate, you can do it with a super chat or a super sticker while I'm live on air here on YouTube. Just press the heart button and donate a couple of quid, 5 quid, 10 quid, whatever you want to donate. It all goes to keep this going until I get advertising. I've got adverts now on my YouTube, but it's peanuts. It's literally peanuts. Because you've got to get up to thousands and thousands. I mean, I think I've got nearly 4,000 subscribers. Don't forget, it's free to subscribe to the Jon Gaunt TV show. Just go to YouTube, press subscribe, or if you're watching it now, press the bell, and then you'll automatically get all notifications about what I'm up to, and you'll be subscribed completely free. And if you want to help fund it, the best way to do that is either on YouTube or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and you can donate a £5 and you can call it either a coffee or a beer. I had a few people do that last night. I want to say thank you to them. Adam Cowning, great big fan of mine. Thank you for that, my friend. And also Seasider Mark, he did it as well. Thank you very, very much indeed. And it's nice when you get a donation. You think, oh, well, that was good. I must have done something good today. And the 2 quid I just got a minute ago from Darren. Thank you very much indeed. Evening, John. There's too many cards on the table and they don't know what the next play should actually be. That, or they do, and they are deflecting from the real issues. They're deflecting. They're deflecting. It's obvious. Deflecting by killing your kids. That's a harsh thing to say, isn't it? But if there's any bloodshed of our boys, our girls, the blood is on your hands, Starmer. Your hands. Oh, has your son signed up yet, or is he still busy revising at Lord Alley's penthouse £18 million flat after his exams? Is your lad going to go to war? Is he going to go to the Ukraine and be killed by some Russian lad? Is he? Is he? Lions led by donkeys, says Grant. Grant, you're always on the form. Thank you. Spread it around the cabbies that I'm back with you, my friend. Doesn't matter about his sexuality. It's none of our business. He just needs to put things right, says the Feral Games. Well, I don't think it matters. And I don't think it matters if you're gay now. Most people, if they're gay, they just don't just admit it. Admit it's a negative way of looking at it. They're proud of it. It's Pride Month, isn't it? And by the way, when did that become a month? It used to be Pride Day, then it became Pride Weekend. Now it's Pride Month. But, you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. No worries. No one cares. No one cares. What we don't like is to be deceived. Darren Cummings, Starmer likes to release the sausages. Yeah, he's never going to live that down, is he? He's never going to live that down. I think they should just be towed back to France. What? Starmer and the whole cabinet? Yeah, I probably agree with that as well. So, no, you mean the illegal migrants. Yeah, well, I'm with you on that, my friend. They don't need to drown. They need to be evaluated to see what, and even if they can offer anything to our country, correct? Like how we would be if we wanted to move to another country, for example. Yeah, there's only one thing to say about that. Why should they jump the queue? Most people are queuing, applying, and coming. And why should they, just because they get in a boat at Calais, get in here quicker than, say, an American or an Australian or an Indian or Pakistani? Why? So you got to think this through. You see, I don't think they should be queue jumping, and I think we've got to stop them coming. There's too many dying in the channel. There really is. Cliff Cooper says if there's a war, he must have a finger or two in the same pie as Blair did, because didn't it make him a millionaire? Well, that was always the accusations. Don't know whether it's true. I think you can understand why I'm saying that, Cliff, but thank you very much indeed. They are all economic refugees, as they've passed through many countries not at war to get here. There is that argument. Listen, we should always give refuge to people who are fleeing genuine persecution. I'm proud of what we did with the Ugandan Asians. I'm proud of what we did for Ukraine. But there comes a point where you can't just keep giving. Am I right or am I wrong? It's like my relationship with my missus. It's give and take. I give, she takes. I'll be in trouble for that one if she's listening. But anyway, do you understand the point? But what I wanted to see today, or yesterday, some reference to Dover. No reference. Oh, we put out a tweet, didn't he? He said, oh, if you're mad about it, I'm mad about it too. Oh, tear a tissue. Crush a grape. He's like the geezer off Cracker Jack, isn't he? Could you imagine him leading you into war? I'd rather go over the top with Blackadder. Or the other geezer. What's his name? The one who's Baldrick. He'd be a better leader than this Burke who's in charge at the moment. Are you with me or against me? Can you drop your thoughts in the comments? Can you definitely smash the like button? And can you share this stream afterwards? Just share the link. Because the mainstream media don't, won't, or can't say what I'm saying. They can't. Subscribe to the Jon Gaunt Show. And let's help to stop this drift towards the war. Subscribe. It costs nothing. I'm nearly at 4,000. So if you did that, it would be marvellous. Please do it. Help me out. Because this show is going somewhere. You want to be one of the people who says, do you know what? I watched him when he had no listeners, when he had no viewers. I watched him before he had the green screen. And before he got the lights of Adam. That's what you want to be able to say. You want to be saying, oh, the Pistols. Yeah, I saw them at Mr. George's nightclub in Coventry. If everybody who saw the Pistols were, say they saw the Pistols at Mr. George's club, then it must have been in Shea Stadium, right? I actually did, but there you are. That's something different. Where are we going next? We're going to go here. I think this is going to be the last one, unless someone jumps in now. YouTube, Paul Clack. Where are the migrants? Where do they get the money from to pay for the boats? Well, they all contribute, don't they? They all pay well, so we're led to believe, the people smugglers. But evidently, these boats have been dropping them off. When there was 18 boats on Sunday, they were dropping them off, going back and getting a second ride. Grant the cabbie would love that kind of work, wouldn't you, Grant? You get one out and you got another one straight in. Yeah. Lovely jubbly, yeah? Loads of dosh. I'm taking the mickey, Grant, but you know what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I agree with immigration, says Dodge the Badger, as long as they're processed correctly, and they all must have ID, i.e. a passport. Oh, Dodge, you're old-fashioned. Dodge, I agree with you. I agree with you. Well-controlled, managed immigration has made this country great. Look at our football team. Look at the food we now eat. Look at our culture. Look at our music scene. It's all added. It's all contributed. That's why I hate racism. I abhor racism. But we can't just have people jump in the queue and we can't just let everybody in. There ain't enough room. I wrote an article for The Sun about, it's got to be 10 years ago, 9 years ago. And we had a map of Britain with loads of figures on it, and they're all falling in the water because it was full. And the headline was, Britain is full. We were trying to stop illegal immigration then, and look at us now. And still they come. Is that Jeff Wayne? War of the Worlds. The chances of anything coming from Mars or Mozambique, Somaliland, Sudan is 1,000,000 to 1, they said. But still, they come. That's a great album. I don't really like that kind of music, but that was a brilliant album. Where are we going next? French government is paying for their boats, says Dodge the Badger. Is that true? I don't think it is, but thank you. That would be a big story if you could prove that. I went to the first Gulf War under Maggie Thatcher. Then that wimp John Major took over. I would have served forever with Maggie. That's a very interesting thing you're saying there, Michael. Thank you very much indeed. And I salute you and your service. You're a hero. You're a hero, mate. Starmer is just as bad as Keithy Vaz, in my opinion, regarding the Ukrainian models. What? You mean those Ukrainian models were also washing machine repairmen? Are you sure? This is one for the oldies who used to watch me years ago. What are you saying, Skippy? Oh, that's naughty. Are you sure you can say that about Keith Vaz? What, Keith Vaz and Starmer? Oh, Skippy, be careful, my friend. We don't want a class action against you. I need 14 more viewers before I knock off, and then we'd have gone over 500 on YouTube alone, which will be a record for me live show. So come on, tell your mates to start putting it on their computer as well. L. Jones, thanks for bringing up Keithy Vaz. I'll try and remember the song. We used to have a good... If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's when Keith Vaz got into all that trouble. You know, when he was knocking off the... what were they? They weren't Ukrainian. They were Romanian, I think. Anyway, and his wife didn't know. But he made out he was a washing machine salesman or something. I hate that bloke. I had to go up before his standards committee. If you Google it, you'll see it. When I looked after the police federations of Great Britain, he got me in there. And he had a go at me about how much money I was earning for doing PR for them. Perfectly all right. They want my media expertise, I give it them and I charge them. They don't have to pay if they don't want to agree the contract, but once they've agreed it, they're going to pay. He said, you earning £50,000 or something. I said, no, I wasn't. Yes, you were. Don't you lie. You're under oath. You're in the Commons Select Committee and all this bullshit he came out with. I said, no. I was earning a lot more than that. If you just shut up, I'll tell you. Didn't like it. He didn't like it up him, which was hard with what was revealed later. So I called it a kangaroo court, and therefore we called him Skippy, if you're wondering what all that is about. Thank you very much indeed. Putin won't let Starmer knock his back door in. Yes, all right, that's enough of those jokes. The only permissible way of entry into our fantastic country is through a proper manned border control point, not landing on the shores of Dover. Deport all those illegal immigrants. 507! Hooray! Thank you very much indeed. And over 14 people have pressed the like button. I'm going to stop in a minute. I've got a nice sweet and sour cooking at the moment. In fact, Lisa's made it today. Evening, John. Hope your weekend was good. We'll have to catch up later. I was busy with work today. It's okay, Steve. You can watch it on replay. I'll put it straight up after the show. I had a great weekend. I saw my mate Dave. He's just back from Mauritius. I said, did you hear about all the trouble? He said, oh, yeah. No one thinks much of it over there at all. I said, all right. You have nice weather? He had a great suntan. If I could, I'd join the armed forces, but their restrictions and everything to sign your life away make it so difficult. It's more hassle than it's worth, says, who's that? The Feral Gamer 91. What a cracking show. Thank you very, very much indeed. Thanks for joining in. Keep listening. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. If you want to get in touch with me separately to this, you can via email or via Facebook or Twitter or X or here on YouTube. You can now send, if you go to the Jon Gaunt page, if you subscribe, there's like a community tab. You press on there and you can write anything you want, and I answer. I'm getting inundated on there with comments and stuff, and I answer every single one. And any suggestions, I'll really take them on board, because sometimes you come up with great stories, great ideas that we can discuss. So please use that. If you do want to support me financially, do a super chat or a super sticker like Chopper MK50 did tonight. He's a superstar for tonight. Put £2 in the hat. Everything helps. Thank you very much. Or after the show, go to www.buymeacoffee, all one word, .com/Jon Gaunt. Remember, there's no H in John. That's me done. That's a record. 523 watching on YouTube alone. Thanks. Listen, I used to have 1 million listeners on TalkSport. People say, don't you miss that? Well, it's the same whether you got 1 million or you've got to just perform and be you, and it'll build. I'm like Kevin Costner. If you build it, they'll come, and you're coming. So thank you very much indeed. And I love the freedom of this. I just love the freedom of it. Could do with making a few more pennies, but apart from that, it's great. All right, I'm back tomorrow. Thanks very much. Hope you had a good weekend. Forgot to ask you that. I shall see you tomorrow night, Tuesday, 6:30. Until then, if you've got kids, this is the most important bit. Give them a kiss, give them a hug, and don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.